This is the first time that I learned that a gun held to the head is called persuasion. She literally did that. I tried very hard to dissuade her, but she wouldn't listen. And so we went ahead. When Kausalya first suggested the Cheriyal painting, I remember that about 40 years ago, I had bought 4 old paintings from somebody's uncle had passed away, and I bought it from the family. I don't know how old those paintings are, but we put those up also. Scroll paintings played a very important role in the Asian tradition in India and China. In India, it was one of the earliest forms of audio-visual entertainment. Like we continue to have the Harikatha, which is purely audio. This is also visual because the audio is illustrated by these stories. The earliest known reference to audio-visual storytellers is actually found in Patanjali's Mahabhashya, the 2nd century BC. He is commenting on a passage about the use of the historic present in Panini's grammar, the Ashtadhyayi, which was written even earlier in the 5th century BC. And as an example, Patanjali talks about some picture showmen who are discussing the killing of Kamsa at the hands of Krishna. And there is specific mention of a picture showing Kamsa being dragged by the hair and beaten by Krishna. I'm sure Krishna didn't do such horrible things, but obviously the painters did. But what is important is that in the 2nd century BC, there's a 5th century BC reference to this scroll painting. And it probably goes even older because there are numerous references to painted scrolls all through literature, especially in the torments of hell, Yamapataka, which were very popular. And interestingly, I saw this on the walls of Angkor Wat in Cambodia. And there you have this entire scene of Yamapataka, and it's like a scroll painting. You know, this happened, that happened. It's if you see the wall paintings of Angkor Wat, they're very much like scroll paintings because they're not one single picture frozen in time. They are continuous stories which are there not as panels, just one after another. So even this Yamapataka story is there, the torments of hell, and it's very interesting that this was such a popular tradition that it travelled outside India to Southeast Asia and was replicated in stone. In India, in each region and village, they had their own scroll painting traditions. In Rajasthan, you have the story of Babuji Ki Pad. I have a very old Babuji Ki Pad at home, which my mother acquired long ago. There are also the Devanarayana Katha and stories, of course, of the famous Dhola Maru legend. In Goa, you had the Dashavatara stories. You'll be surprised to know that the Dashavatara and especially the Krishna stories were very popular in Goa, and even today, for Deepavali, they burn the effigy of Narakasura. And during that time, they narrate these stories. And in the past, they used to have these scroll paintings too. In Maharashtra, you have Pinkuli and Chitrakatha. And today, many of the Chitrakatha are reproduced on all those little cards and so on. And the Prashasti Patra. I have seen a Prashasti Patra in the Saraswati Mahal Library, where it was a big horoscope, 9 meters long. And it went on and on with paintings, and I don't know whose horoscope it was supposed to be. Some things were nice, some things were pretty nasty, but it was a complete scroll painting. Of course, as Kausalya said, the Potua of Bengal is extremely popular, and Orissa Pattachitra. In fact, if you go to Raghurajpur in Orissa, the walls, even along the street as you go along, are full of paintings, beautiful paintings. I mean, I would advise anybody to go there. And just like in Tamil Nadu, for a girl to get married, she is taught Carnatic music. Over there, in Orissa, in the region around Puri, Bhubaneswar, she is taught to paint. And if you cannot paint, I hope you are very beautiful, because otherwise you won't get a husband. So that is the tradition over there. Today, unfortunately, scroll paintings are shrinking because of the advent of TV and cinema, which have taken over their role. They are restricted to Rajasthan, West Bengal, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So these are some of the scroll paintings that I was able to get. This is a Krishna and the Gopis from Rajasthan. This is Babuji Ki Pad. And this is the entire story from the top left going down to the right corner about Babuji, who is a local hero. This is an elaborate expansion of the same Babuji Ki Pad. In Gujarat, you have kalamkari. In fact, you'll be interested to know that kalamkari is itself a scroll painting form. Today, it's become just a wall piece, a decorative piece. But kalamkari was a scroll painting form. In Gujarat, you have stories of Devi, and of course, in Andhra Pradesh, you have the entire Ramayana and various aspects, generally of Vishnu. Here, I found a photograph in the Hindu of such an enormous kalamkari piece, just to give you an idea of what the scroll painting would have been like. This is the Orissa Patta Chitra, where you have all these stories all around, and the main figure, Rama and Sita, and Hanuman in the center, the whole narration of Rama's life around it. The most interesting, I must say, are the Bengali Potwa scroll paintings, which depict generally mythical stories or stories from the epics and the Puranas, and they used to be done on cloth, now more and more on paper. The Potwa is a long scroll painting which goes one after another, like these various panels over here, and it was used by storytellers in rural Bengal as a visual aid to a live narration of epic and Puranic stories. This is how it was shown, and some of you may have seen it in some of the exhibitions in Chennai. Interestingly, this tradition in Bengal crossed over from Hinduism to Islam, and they were very popular in the 12th and 13th century Muslim paintings, because at that point, a lot of the Potwa painters became sort of Muslims. They are sort of even today half Muslim, half Hindu. They narrate Hindu stories, say they are Muslims or vice versa. They call themselves what they want as they want. In the British Museum, there are 57 registers of scroll painting tradition depicting the adventures and exploits of a local Bengali Muslim Peer or saint called Ghazi and his friend Manik. And this Ghazi fights with demons, overpowers tigers, and makes cattle yield milk. He was famous for his power over tigers. In one panel, I will show you, he is riding a tiger. And they were very popular, and these are scroll paintings. These are what you would call the Islamic scroll paintings. So although Islam is not a visually aided religion, in Bengal it used the Potwa to take Islamic stories. So here is Ghazi riding a tiger. This is a folk legend about the protective powers of the tiger. She was called Bon Bibi. When I did my book Sacred Animals of India, I came across Bon Bibi, who has miraculous powers and of resurrection, bringing people back to life and so on. And she also has the power over the tigers themselves, because in the Sundarbans it's a life and death experience. Every day they live to be swallowed by the tigers. All scroll paintings belong to the pre-European folk tradition. So they are all characterized by flat colors, bright colors, and there's not much depth, or no depth at all. It's avoided totally, and there is a detail of pattern and design. So this is something that is common to all scroll paintings. We come now to Cheriyal itself. which is in Warangal district. Somebody asked me, where is Cheriyal? And I'm sure everybody or nearly everybody here has gone to Hyderabad. So I have not gone to Cheriyal, so I think all of us should make the effort to go. Now, there are a lot of ideas about where Cheriyal got its influences and so on. Most probably it was influenced by the Kalamkari tradition of Andhra Pradesh and the Deccani scroll paintings, which are very old, and you see a lot of the Deccani style in the Cheriyal style. Now the scroll is supposed to have been, the Cheriyal scrolls are supposed to have been brought to India by the Mughals in the 16th century in Rajasthan. But I would not agree, because as we saw earlier, it goes back to the 5th century in India itself. And as I said, Cheriyal paintings must have been influenced by Kalamkari and Deccani paintings. But while the Rajasthani paintings could have influenced them, Cheriyal scrolls were popular right across Andhra and Telangana till the advent of cinema and television. Unfortunately, Cheriyal is the last place where this tradition lives today, and that is only because of this one gentleman, D.Vaikuntam NAKASH, and his family, who have made the effort to preserve this painting, and I hope they continue to do so. Scroll painting is a very ancient art of Telangana and goes back to the Kakatiyas, and it is still, and in Kakatiya painting there is a lot of there is a lot of the Cheriyal painting to be seen there. Kakatiya paintings of the 12th century resemble even today the Cheriyal paintings, especially in the Pillalamari temple and the hill temple of Tripurantaka. Ekamranatha, in his literary work Pratapa Charitram, says that 1,500 painter families used to live in and around Warangal. Of course, today all that has gone and the painters are limited to Cheriyal. What is different about Cheriyal paintings is that they have community-specific stories. They focus on the day-to-day lives of simple communities like fishermen, toddy tappers, cobblers, fruit gatherers, and so on. They also narrate stories from the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the Puranas, and very rare stories too. Yesterday I was talking to D.Vaikuntam NAKASH, and he told me a story which, gosh, we all know, but we've forgotten, that when Vali dies and asks Rama, why did you have to kill me? If you had told me, I would have done whatever you said. So Rama said, for killing you, in my next life, my next avatara, you will kill me and you will be responsible for my death. Now all of us know that story, but we've forgotten it. And then finally Vali is reborn as the hunter who kills Krishna by accident as he is resting in the forest. So, I mean, these are little stories which they bring into their paintings. So it is very beautiful and can reach out to the educated and the uneducated. Over here, we are all supposed to be educated historians, and we were all going ooh and ah over these paintings. Cheriyal scroll painting is a stylized version of Nakashi art, rich in local motifs peculiar to the Telangana region. While the Nakashis were the artists, the Mandhets were the bards and performers. Nakashi was an art which is believed to have been imported during the Mughal period. And the Nakash clan was handpicked by the rulers for the delicacy of their artistry, of the paintings. And that continues today. Nakashi art contains bright primary colors with a predominant of red. As you can see, the red is in the background. We'll go to that later. Predominance of red, and scrolls and dolls were both used for storytelling. In the past, the scrolls were a colorful backdrop to the oral traditions of common people, the village barber and so on. These castes were the Madiga, the Gaud, the Mudiraju, Malas, Padmashali, Chakala and Mangali, the 7 working castes of the village. The scroll set out the adventures and exploits of local folk heroes who performed on the fringes of the epics and Puranas of Hindu tradition. Each community had its peculiarities and its favorite heroes and heroines. as also a selection of stories from local myths. And very interestingly, that there were one caste could only narrate to another. For example, the Jamba Purana is performed for the Madigas by the Dakkali subcaste. The Bhavana Rishi and Markandeya Puranam is performed for the Padmasalis by the Kunapuli subcaste, and so on. So each one has a role to play. It's a kind of interactive thing. So it is not merely just an entertainment form, it is also a ritual, because if only one caste can do it for another, this makes it a kind of ritual for each caste and a role that each caste had in the life of the other. It is usually performed over 3 nights in a row, but it could even take 20 days to narrate a 60-foot scroll. The presence of such storytelling performers is indicated in as early as 10th century Telugu literature. The Cheriyal paintings stand apart because of the narrative format, and these may run to several meters in length. This art form becomes an inseparable part of the profession of the storytelling communities who displayed the scrolls and went from village to village accompanied by music and dancing, narrating and singing their ballads based on their rich folklore. They are a team of 5 people, 2 narrate the story, while the others provide musical accompaniment with a harmonium, tabla and castanets. The stage is simple. A portable fixture may be erected on 4 poles with a horizontal bar on which the scrolls are displayed. Sometimes they are also accompanied by dance. The subjects, of course, as I said, are drawn from literary, mythological and folk traditions. But the narrative is spiced up with scenes of rural life. Women working in the kitchen. If you go there, you'll see agriculturists, people working on the field, men working in paddy fields or drinking in merry abandoned festivals and so on. The costumes and settings are all local. So you won't find Krishna with a Gujarati Radha. You will find Krishna with a Telangana Radha and so on. So they're local, they reflect the culture of Telangana where the paintings originate. Within the narrow panels, proportion is created by depicting trees and the separation of panels is done by architectural features such as a building or a pillar. You can see that at the bottom. Right at the bottom you can see how all these various panels are separated by architectural features. Interestingly, you see this also in Vijayanagar painting, in Lepakshi painting, the separation. In fact, when we did the book on the paintings of the Vardaraja Perumal temple, I found the same thing, these architectural forms used to separate panels. So I wonder which came first. Was it the Cheriyal or the Vijayanagar? Definitely it would have been the folk story because they are much older than the Vijayanagar artists, or maybe the Vijayanagar artists were the same artists themselves. Each Cheriyal painting starts with a panel of Ganapati followed by Saraswati and also any other deities whom the artist wishes to invoke. The whole universe is replicated in miniature. Landscapes, forests, animals, birds, people, rituals, and every service caste and their caste genealogies. The caste genealogy is a very important aspect of Cheriyal painting. The paintings do not have the rigor or the stiff restrictions of Tanjore and Mysore painting. They don't have any of that academic rigor with definitely, this is the style and so on. But some things are common, like sometimes the main figure, as in Tanjore painting, is much larger, like Krishna will be much larger than all the people around him, and so on. The scrolls roll down as the narration goes on. Each scroll is about 3 feet wide and could go up to 50 feet in length, which of course depends on the story. And as I said, you have these beautiful floral borders, and now this is an older one, just to show you that it does not have the elaborate floral borders, but this has the same architectural style. I just want to show you the difference. This is done today. This is in an earlier period. This is part of our collection. This is also Ramayana, where it is continuous. There is no division. So this is the earlier Cheriyal tradition as distinct from the modern Cheriyal tradition, which you see today. This is the more modern one, where you see the various divisions of the story. I'm sorry, the pictures are not so good because many of them are framed in glass, and we were trying to photograph them through glass, which is not a very easy thing to do. The scroll actually moves like a film roll, or maybe even a comic, because a cartoon, not comic is the wrong word, cartoon, so that each picture comes one after another. So it's a vertical format, but the stories go in horizontal formats. This now has been made into one single wall piece, but originally it would have gone on. You see so much over here, and then so much, and it keeps going down. So the story is in horizontal format, but it moves in vertical format. As the bard narrates the story, the panel depicting that particular part of the story is displayed. And the choice of episodes and iconography of each deity is depicted as per the traditions of the caste. This is very interesting. The iconography is not, of course, Rama will always be there with his bow and arrow and Krishna with his flute or whatever. But otherwise, the iconography really depends on the caste traditions of for whom it is made. Sometimes they are also followed by, accompanied by dolls. In fact, there is one particular community, I have the name over here somewhere, and that community, for them, their entire story is done in only with dolls. The Katamaraju Katha, performed for the Golluvalu by the Mande Cholulu. Instead of scrolls, performers in the Katamaraju performance use 53 dolls made by the Nakashi artists. So that one caste. So it's very interesting that what we think is just a general painting tradition really is a caste tradition. How do they do it? This is also very interesting. Cheriyal paintings are completely organic, from the canvas or the cloth to the paints and the brushes. A very fine hand-woven cloth mat is coated with 3 layers of a paste prepared from boiled rice starch, white clay, gum and boiled tamarind seed paste. The painting, this is applied over the cloth over a period of 3 days. They have to wait for it to dry the first day, then the second day. If it doesn't dry by the second day, they wait for 2 days till it dries. It is then drawn by hand on the cloth, which has been specially processed, and after the canvas is prepared, the outline of the picture is drawn directly on the canvas with a brush made of squirrel's hair. The outlines are very well defined and sharp, and thereafter the colors are filled in. So on this white background, they put in the drawing, which is really not a drawing. They draw with their colors and using a brush. In the past, natural dyes were used for colors. White was obtained from ground seashells, black from lamp soot, yellow from turmeric, blue from indigo, and other colors from various vegetable dyes and ground stones. The colors are used in a predetermined order. The bright red fills the background. The face and skin are blue and yellow, representing the gods and the goddesses respectively. Brown and darker shades are for demons, while pink and skin tones are for humans. The powder of a stone called Inglicum is used to create the bright red. Pewoody yellow shades, unique zinc white is used to depict pearl-like ornamentation, and the thick indigo blue colors are used across the paintings, making the beautiful frames theatrical representatives of life. Today, the natural dyes have been replaced by watercolors, but the father and son duo will not agree, but a lot of poster colors or watercolors are being used also today. They are mixed with tree gum before being applied on the scroll. and colors are not necessarily prepared in the traditional manner. Because synthetic colors, let's face it, are far more economical, easier to use. So, I mean, maybe we should also not expect them to be using organic colors all the time. Apart from scrolls, Cheriyal artists also make dolls and masks. As I mentioned earlier, the dolls and masks are also used in their storytelling tradition. And the smaller masks are made of coconut shell, the larger ones of sawdust and tamarind seed paste. Please go to the exhibition, you will see the beautiful masks they have made. The dolls are made of a light wood called Tella Puniki. I'm sure my pronunciation is all wrong, but I'm trying to be as correct as possible, with sawdust and tamarind seed paste. They are also painted with bright colors. The long stories from local mythologies have been cut short, and now, like all these pictures here, they've just been frozen into one event which you can buy and put up in your drawing room. That is of course natural, because if art is to survive, it has to adapt to the market, especially when it is a craft form. I'll just run you through some of these paintings. We saw the earlier Ramayana. This is a modern Ramayana painting, again by Cheriyal. These are the dolls made by D.Vaikuntam NAKASH and his family. The Drishti Bommulu, you'll find them in the exhibition. And I was very surprised, I must say, that I discovered that, God knows, in our old house in Kanchipuram, we have an old Drishti Bommulu, which is identical to this. I didn't know where it was from, but after seeing their Drishti Bommulu, I realized that ours are also from Andhra. Before I end, I'd like to say that the tradition of scroll painting was adapted. Jamini Roy, a very great early 20th century artist, he created scroll paintings on jute mat surfaces, and he used the potua, which is the scroll painting tradition, to create these beautiful long paintings of various legendary events. It has also been adapted to the modern world. In Orissa, for example, in a Pattachitra, a contemporary tsunami which came a few years ago has been created into a scroll painting, and I actually saw the story being narrated. And this is of course the Gujarat earthquake, again a West Bengal Pattachitra, which has been done on paper. Today, scroll painting and narration are facing unfair competition from the electronic media, particularly the film and television industry. This is a tradition which is as old as Indian culture and has preserved folk tales and local myths, besides taking epics and Puranas to the rural masses. Will it survive? Please think about it. Thank you.